I just wanted to congratulate you all on an awesome season. Joking aside, you have worked so hard, both in debate and forensics. And I know that I say this to you constantly, but I am unbelievably proud of the team that we have for this year. I genuinely mean that. I see you every day coming in during advisory and working on your pieces. I see you after school coming in and working on your pieces. The amount of dedication that I've seen this season has really just blown my mind, and I'm incredibly proud to say that you are all part of my team. So, shut up, Lexi. I try to be nice one time, and y'all hate it. So without further ado, I'm not going to talk a lot because I'm awkward, and you all know this. But aside from my little spiel tonight, we are going to have some performances from our forensics teammates, and we'll be starting with one Lexi Bindle, who will be performing a poem by Charles Baudelaire called Be Drunk. Let's give it for Lexi. David, if you could cut the slideshow real quick. Thank you.
This is scary up here. Okay. It's a 4-letter word, and it's not kind or love or hope. The word that best describes growing up with an alcoholic parent is shit. Some of you may know what it's like to have an absent parent. Now, imagine you had a parent who was there for you, but loved the substance more than they loved you. In these poems, we explore that and give a voice to the children who suffer each and every day. Be Drunk by Charles Baudelaire, Loving an Alcoholic by Dorothy Walker, and Children of Alcoholics Don't Exist by Harrison Ford. 1 in 10 kids grow up with an alcoholic father. Sadly, I am one. And it lingers for years, stalking you into adulthood, smearing itself on the edge of broken promises, making reality hard to grasp, silencing speech. I was afraid of you, for your love of alcohol. I hate you. I idolized you just as any daughter should do. The unspoken rules, the sense you get that you are second to a substance because they'd rather booze up than buy you shoes or a basic meal. I hope you can feel my love now, since your selfish hands beat my soul. I try and fight you, but it's hopeless. I want you to leave me alone, but I can't bear to let you go. You really are a troubled man whose favorite lie is, I love you. It's shit, and all the ways you blame yourself, performing through perfection for attention, then swinging to rebellion, anything. Anything to be seen and loved and held more than a bottle. With every perfectly clear bottle of Corona, the ones that ended up cracked later that night, for the beloved you are and your heart is bleeding. Having you love me, even if it was not kind, was better than not having your love at all. Kissed me on the cheek and held me tight, then beat me till I bled that same night. It's shit, and I'm sorry. I'd love to tell you it doesn't matter, but it does because you do, and you always have. And that deep anger and sadness that seeps from your scars are normal, and they exist because you know deep in your love-seated soul that you did nothing to deserve the neglect or harm or shame from a parent who may have loved you but failed terribly at loving themselves or parenting themselves with any maturity. And all these things I did for you were never enough. So please, Father, put the bottle down. It's shit, and I'm sorry, And I'm praying that you keep walking towards the light of healing and wholeness as you slowly meet with guides at your side. Now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. If I die before I wake, I pray the Lord my soul to take. Please bless my mother, father, sister, everyone in the world, and me. And please make my father quit drinking. It's hard to love an alcoholic. My love is never enough. Alcoholics are never parents. They are shells, empty casings of love mixed with the burning taste of whiskey. They're echoed slurs of, good night, I love you, and see you in the morning. Each word filled with love, but blinded by the haze of liquor so strong it fills your eyes with tears. I read stories about children who spend their days without a care in the world. I wanted nothing more than that for myself. I wanted the carelessness, not the impossible burden of responsibility and secrecy that I held hand in hand with resentment and hatred for the people who raised me. A child of an alcoholic will never be a child, no matter their age. They have gained the experiences of those 5 times their age. There's no such thing as a child of an alcoholic. It's not that we don't exist, we do. But a child will never be a child when their parents can never be a parent. Tell me, was I never something you could regret?
That was beautiful. Beautiful. Oh. Oh, okay, cool. Check the program, are you? It's okay. Mr. Brown's recording it too, so if your parents want to see it, they can. He's recording the whole thing. I asked him to. You don't have to show it to your parents. You have the option to show it to your parents, okay?
Test, 1, 2. I don't know if I need it. How, how close am I to stand? Hold on, let me. I'll go like this. I feel like that's good. I'll try not to. I don't know if do I need it? Okay, I'm thinking. Because my blocking. Oh, okay, got it. Okay. 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 There's dust in here. I wish I was kidding. Wait, I gotta shake it out. Where children use chalk on the sidewalk, tracing their bodies for the pre-criminal investigation of their paternal inheritance. Murder. At some point, the peace turned to anarchy, our empathy reduced to apathy, our innocence to ignorance, our love to hate. At some point, we failed. Maya Angelou once wrote, "Someone's writing should be what they would write if they had a gun in their mouth." The title of today's piece is attributed to her and the idea that unless we make a difference now, the world as we know it will cease to exist. Until then, said the shotgun to the head by Saul Williams. Let the countdown begin. 10. Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. I prayed to you and cupped the wind, and in doing so barred a century of solitude. I will now pray with my hands outstretched, with these psalms etched into my palms. 9. I am certain my friends laugh and talk behind my back. They say you've changed me, and I am. I am like a survivor of the flood walking through the streets. God's surprised that all the drowned victims are still walking and talking, and maybe there's hope. And then, as if nothing were bound to repeat itself again, as if history had been masterfully created from an understanding of how the pyramids were built from the top down. And do you remember, or has your history forsaken you? There were tales told around fires and mysteries coded in songs, all incantations calling forth this day. Rivers like oceans and oceans like answers, questions in cloud forms and raindrops and stanzas, to be or not to see or not to. 8. Mother Nature's a whore, said the shotgun to the head, and it smelled like teen spirit, angst-driven, insecure, a country in puberty, a country at war, cotton-mouthed, bloodthirsty, to instill fear. 7. Where is that voice from? Nowhere. To remind us that the holy ground we walk on has rooted trees whose fallen leaves now color code a sacred list of demands. A nation in its Saturn years that won't acknowledge karma. So where is that voice from? Nowhere. The one your prophet spoke of? There are voices dead, numb to the possibility of truth existing beyond. There are voices of elders that seem to do no more than damn us for our childish ways, for wisdom no longer comes with age. So where is that voice from? Nowhere. I hear voices of generals calling for ammunition, voices of presidents calling for arms, voices of women calling for help. But where is that voice from? Nowhere. Can he be heard over the gunfire, the whiz of passing missiles, the crash of building, the cries of the children, the crack of bones, the shriek of sirens? Or is that him? Your angry God. Your prayers between rounds do no more than fasten the fate of your trigger, a truth that we too bear witness to the short-lived fate of a civilization that worships a male god. Your weapons are phallic, all of them. We will wait through the degenerate course of your repeated history. We will wait for the past to die. 6. The end is near, in the beginning. Her tears were the long-awaited rains of a parched Somali village. Red-dusted children danced in the shadows in the new-found mounds of mascara that eclipsed her face. Reflected in the glass of an East Street bodega, learning to love, she had forgotten to cry. She is within us. A world of dreams, fluid and unremembered. A multitude of tongues universed. 5. Behold, a story untold. I have found the library where all dreams stored, catalogs of cultures indexed by disappearance. There are only deceived. Death only awaits those who believed. I surrendered my beliefs. 4. Maybe you shouldn't have prayed with your eyes closed. Open eyes plainly see the resemblance. A prayer stamped, return to sender. Bitten apples that encourage you to think different. This is no blasphemy, I'm only revealing. You cower behind your God as he leads you into war, and your children drown in the crossfire. Not even when every sign tells you that you should maybe aim elsewhere. 3. You needn't learn to love unless you've been taught to hate, and those who don't know history are bound to repeat it. Theirs were the walls of pyramids, yours are the walls of crumbled towers. The truth still stands. You sit ready to aim at the cloaked thief in your temple. You are a cocked trigger smuggled into a house of prayer. 2. Silence. One. What is the cost of freedom and how is it paid? To be free of submission and fear? To be free? This earth is our sanctuary. Nothing more need be built. Come, my love, we have mountains to climb, wilderness to wander. Come. We have oceans to sail. They have ravished your heart and mind, but your breath travels freely. It is only a matter of time before we are timeless. Do you feel it yet? Wow. Take deeper breaths. Wow. What happens to a society when mystery is labeled as evil? It yields an ever-connected chain of false labels and misinterpretations. Citizens, where is your allegiance? Why do you pledge with a covered heart when it needs to be opened? Why do you bear arms with balled fists and closed palms? You've worshipped loopholes in a story and worshipped mythic men to glory. If in God's image, then your God's a plastic surgeon, a coward behind a curtain, an aging oil tycoon on Viagra, ramming his plow into the earth, digging up disease and disaster out of an ever-drying womb. Thank you. I'll be here all weekend.
Yeah. Of course. Let's stand like this. Yeah. No, stop. Okay. My mind is playing tricks on me tonight. It is telling me my waist has more inches than it did yesterday and telling me that I'm filling in the once loose skin on my arms. When you look in the mirror, what do you see? Do you see your features, however imperfect, and thank them for existing? For many people, this is not the case. In a society of edited and drawn fake images of the media, being unhappy with your body is a feeling that many people experience nowadays. But maybe, just maybe, we could change this perception of our bodies. Join me in this program entitled Beauty is Pain. Dear self, when you stand in front of a mirror, your hands slide over your skin. Your fingernails never dig into your flesh, but make no mistake. You have never been kind to yourself, and you spend this time ripping yourself apart. You pinch at your belly and watch until the red marks of your fingers fade away. By the time I was 13, I was obsessed with mirrors. I became obsessed with checking myself in the mirror sometimes hundreds of times a day. It got so bad that I really believed I could see the lines deepening as I looked in the mirror. Body image problems have been with me all my life. Even when I was 4 years old, I remember being at a party, looking around, thinking how I was different from all the other children. Deceit tells us what they have is better than ours. So now we wrestle with discontent, forever seeking, wanting, desiring something that was never ours to begin with. Blessings become blurred when seen through the lens of another, each gaze and long, lusting look that will never be enough. The way I try to explain it is that while some people have a phobia of spiders, I have a phobia of my own face and body. Every time I see a reflection or a picture of myself, I have to catch my breath. It is someone I have never seen before, like an alien. She looked in the mirror, and she saw an evil monster staring back. And though it had no horns and no claw, she knew that it had turned into something that did not care about life or death. And if you ever ask her, she will swear that if someone gave her a hand when she needed it most, she would have been saved. I hate the girl in the mirror, so you'll never hear me say that I'm good enough. I know in my heart that the number on the scale defines my worth, and that being thin will make me happy. I refuse to believe that there's hope. I'm ashamed of my body. It tells me I'm not good enough or smart enough. It tells me I look like a man. It tells me to move my legs so many times that I can't sleep. It yells in a conversation, they know you gained weight. They're looking at your zits wondering why you can't take care of your skin. It yearns to be silent. It yearns to have peace. It yearns to appreciate the blue in my eyes instead of the blackheads on my nose. My mind is loud tonight. My love for myself is scarce tonight. My mind hopes tomorrow will be better. Dear self, you cannot stop seeing numbers counting down to zero. 0 calories intake, 0 pounds on a scale, a cycle of circles spinning into non-existence. Dear self, you learn how to multitask by calculating calories and studying schoolwork simultaneously. When you cannot count down to 0, you'll insist that you are a failure. But then you realize you are 5 pounds lighter than you used to be, but the rest of you is so much heavier, made of nothing, and made of misery. So you pull yourself together and eat a balanced meal for the first time in months. Several weeks pass, but you do stop counting. And when you do, you feel lighter than you ever did. You never realized how much the numbers weighed. Dear body, I am so sorry. I almost don't know how to say this. I've denied you warmth countless times. I've damaged you and I've left you in pain. I know you'll never be quite the same. To my legs, you carry me everywhere I need to go. When I eat, I strengthen you. I've forced you into weakness time and time again. I've risked breaking you when you are what bears me up. To my voice, you are soft and beautiful. You sing kindness. You sing worship to an almighty God. But I've silenced you, and I've made you weak. I've risked losing your sweet sound. To my heart, the one that keeps me alive and breathing, I've slowed you down and I've sped you up. You just want to keep beating. I've risked harming your strong and powerful beat. But your forgiveness is abundant. It is evident as you accept the love I am working so hard to give you. Little by little, you accept the warmth of food, belly. Little by little, you are growing strong, legs. Little by little, your ring is coming back, voice. And beat by beat, you relax and rest, heart. I want to be your friend again. I'm learning to appreciate you again, to fall back in love with you. I see how much you've done for me, how you would do anything to keep me upright. I no longer want to dwindle you. You are my home. I am worth fighting for. No longer can I say that I'm ashamed of my body. There is hope. I refuse to believe that being thin will make me happy and that the number on the scale defines my worth. I know in my heart that I'm good enough. So you'll never hear me say that I hate the girl in the mirror. Because hating yourself is easy. It is throwing yourself into darkness and hoping that the bungee cord doesn't snap. But learning to love yourself, to accept the flaws, that is the journey back up the mountain. Handhold by handhold, sometimes gripping by a single finger. Each movement is momentous. Your strength hauls your body back up the rock. And when you reach the top, you can see sunlight again. Dear self, you will make it up this mountain. You already have.
I know. I'm gonna step forward once I start my piece. Yeah, I know. I know. It's gonna be like,
The first thing you should know.
yeah. You can't spoil it. You can't spoil it. We have a new audience member. Yeah, but shh. The more spoilers, the worse. For all your sake, I'm going to be doing my HI first because we've just gone through some heavy pieces. I just want to get that out of the way.
Oh, that's fair. Make sure that you give yourself enough room because your pieces are.
Oh yeah. They are. The first thing you should know about me is that my name is Elvin Ho. I am afraid of many things. Tunnels, elevators, bridges, substitute teachers, kimchi, wasabi, scary dreams, scary movies, shot, school. If there were no more school, my troubles would blast away just like that. I could dig holes all day. I could keep an eye on things. I could watch cooking shows. It would be fantastic. The second thing you should know about me is that I have never said a word in school. Even when I tried with all my might, I still managed to say nothing at all. My voice works at home. It works in the car. It even works on the school bus. But as soon as I get to school, I am as silent as a side of beef. It's true. No one really knows why I lose my voice, especially since I come from a long line of farmer warriors who haven't had a scaredy bone in their body since 714 AD. In ancient China, my ancient grandmas and grandpas and aunts and uncles would fight off leopards and tigers, just the way that Calvin, Annabelle, and I would fight off mosquitoes at Walden Pond. They aren't afraid of anything, but I am afraid of everything. Childhood. A fun time for all, right? Wrong. Elementary school may seem like rainbows and kittens, but it is a war zone. For Alvin, it's not only a battle, but an epidemic. Alvin Ho, allergic to girls, school, and other things. But Lenore, look. When I was your age, I was scared of school too. Just hold your head up high and be a gentleman. But I'm sick! My dad put a hand to my forehead. No fever. Are you sure? I looked at him. His hands were thick like baseball mitts. It was a wonder he could feel anything through them. Where does it hurt? All over! It was true. I didn't make it up. I even gave him a little moan. You are not sick. But I will be. I will be very sick. I am allergic to school, severely allergic. Alvin. You will be okay, son. I love it when my dad calls me that. Son. Maybe he was right. A good word from my dad changes everything. And besides, if I missed the school bus, my dad would have some other words for me. So I rushed out and I joined Calvin right as the bus was pulling in the alley, and so he waved and hopped on. You will be okay, son. Son. My dad's voice echoed behind my ears. I smiled at Calvin, and Calvin smiled back. And I was okay. Then we got to school. My feet dropped like a couple of cement blocks when we got off, and my stomach churned like a washing machine. Ugh. Then I saw that sign, Miss Pezalowski, 2nd grade. My throat tightened.
Hello. My name is Mrs. P.
I stopped dead in my tracks. Her hair was shiny and her skin was clean. She smelled like fresh laundry out of the dryer. She smiled at me, but I did not smile back. I hardly even looked at her. I was getting dizzy. I realize now, 2nd grade isn't any different from 1st grade, which wasn't different from kindergarten, and I wanted to run and hide when...
Wanna be just buddies again?
was Flea. She was my desk buddy last year, and she's... a girl. The scary thing about girls is that they aren't boys. They can't punch, but they can kick, oh, which hurts. They skip rope too fast. They are boring. I opened my mouth to tell her all of this, but
My tongue turned to sandpaper.
nothing came out.
Go on, you can sit with me and Aisha.
I look around. It'd be too late to sit with the boys now. I wished for my voice. I wished and wished and wished. But finally, I slumped in my chair. I'm allergic to school, but I'm even more allergic to girls! But you see, not all sicknesses are created equal. Tonsillitis, for example, is pretty good. You get all the Italian ice you want. It is my dream to have tonsillitis someday. Appendicitis is good too, but not as good as a burst appendix, which gets you in a wailing ambulance ride speeding through all the red lights on the way to Emerson Hospital. This happened when Calvin's appendix burst, and our mom found him on the kitchen floor.
He was all the luck.
Well, the common cold, it's okay, but it's not great. But you get to stay home and watch cooking shows, so it's not so bad. But if you happen to run into medical mysteries, if one morning you wake up with foreign accent syndrome, or barking madness, or squeaky chalk phobia, forget it. You're back in school the same day, so you just have to be patient. It's like what my mom says when you get a house or a car. You can't get the first deal because a better one could be right around the corner. And just that happened. Because a few weeks later, Jules was out of school with the chicken pox.
Don't go to Jules' house, children. It will take 3 weeks for the scabs to completely fall off. Until then, Jules is highly contagious.
Highly contagious! I wanted to burst like a bunch of fireworks. But I didn't. It would have to wait until after school. Oh, it was so hard not going to Jules' house. It's on the way to everything. It's like Jules' house was a big magnet. I was being yanked towards it. And just that happened. When I got there, I saw a huge line of kids wrapping all the way around, like when there's a crowd to see a scary movie. Hi, guys! Shh! Be quiet. You're too loud. Jules' mom will see us and we'll all get sent home. Finally, it was my turn. I stepped up underneath the window and I saw Pinky standing there.
Got 50 cents!
This is weird. Usually, Pinky doesn't notice me. I'm not on his radar, not one beep, not even a flicker. But I was flickering now.
You got 50 cents?
No. Wait! I remembered, in my back pocket I had some unchewed gum that I got earlier. It was warm and soft. So he snatched it from me and popped it in his mouth.
Okay, you got a minute.
And so I opened the window and I crawled through, and I see Jules sitting there on the bed. So where's the chicken?
I know. I kind of wish I knew that myself.
You see, I didn't know if Jules was a boy or a girl because Jules could be short for Julia or Julian. Sometimes Jules plays with the boys and other times with the girls, but right now, Jules looks a lot less like a boy nor a girl, kind of like an alien. A potato alien, fresh off of a UFO. You are so lucky! I would give anything to look like that.
Yeah, it's pretty great. Except for all the scratching.
Is there any you can't reach?
Yeah, just up the middle of my back.
And so I gave Jules a hand, and I think that has something to do with being a gentleman, but I don't know. I can't remember. Time's up! That day, I wasn't able to get chicken pox or even the normal pox. It was a huge disappointment. But then, a long time after everybody had forgotten about Jules and the chicken pox, a miracle happened. You see, our
Our teacher was showing us all of these famous self-portraits, and we would be able to make our own. So we got mirrors and paintbrushes, and I knew that mine was going to be great. But problem is, I didn't feel like painting. I didn't feel like doing anything, really. So when I looked into my mirror, something terrifying stared back. Ah! And Flea, next to me, looked over and went, ah! Some kids ran fast, other kids ran faster. You were a bunch of aliens or something. School was out for 2 weeks and a half after that. You could see kids as far away as Andover, Massachusetts could hear about the great chickenpox epidemic in Concord. I could see the headline.
All the children were told to quarantine until further notice. How it ever started in the first place is a complete mystery.
The third thing you should know about me is that my name's Alvin Ho and I got the chickenpox. Now for the heavy piece.
I'm sweaty. Asian culture is growing in popularity as we speak. You name it. BTS, Naruto, Chang triplets, World War II propaganda. I think I saw you at my uncle's wedding. And accents so thick you have to beg that question. Sorry, can you repeat that? As an Asian American, people become curious. They ask questions. And these questions could lead to things that they would or would not want to know. What kind of Asian are you? By Alex Day.
And so he said to me,
What kind of Asian are you?
And I said back, well, that is a loaded question. What did you expect me to be? Because anyway, slice that egg roll, I'm still pretty much what you want to see. I've played many a Far East stereotype. Awkward math genius, cool and calculated kung fu expert, assistant to Dr. Jones, you crazy! You want me to drive? How so? I can give you Tokyo Drift, Jeremy Lin, Mario Kart, Tiger Woods, and blinker left on for almost half a mile. I am the foremost expert on all things Asian. The Meiji era and the Ban of the Samurai? Done. Confucianism versus Taoism? I give it to you with no slant. What's the difference between Asian stereotype 1 and 2? Well, let me tell you. Let me tell you everything you want to know about my culture. Let me tell you in a Mulan-esque soliloquy, staring in that mirror asking, who is that girl I see? Let me tell you about Jackie Chan and about Bruce Lee and about how they are related by blood to me. Let me tell you about being so marginalized. It's to the point of, I really can't believe it's Asian. Let me tell you about derogatory terms and the origins of words such as chink and guk. Let me tell you about the struggle of Asian parents not knowing the language, so we ate pet food because it was cheaper. Let me tell you about the job of interpreter when you're still playing with Lego blocks, yet your English is already that much better than your parents. Let me tell you about honor and dignity. Let me tell you about a society that projects us as nothing but the secondary role and never the leading man. Let me tell you about things that you don't want to know. Like how chink comes from the clinking of metal to railroad from the slaves who built train tracks for this country to be connected. Like the zipper head down the street is named that from the way that our heads split open when struck with assault weapons. Jeeps ran over and left marks across corpses because someone clever thought that we were only good to unzip. Or like how every time you lump an Asian person into one culture, it systematically makes us assimilate into an America that we thought was better than our war-torn home. And every time you confuse me with some other nationality that I might share similar features to, is stripping away my individuality. And I still feel the shame of being Asian, the heat and pious dedication of June 11th, 1963, the envy of blonde hair and blue eyes. And I still remember thinking, where are all those boys who look like me on TV were? The broken words of my mother and father stage diving off my tongue. The anger I felt when those kids thought that I would get them sick. And I still feel the ash of the incense burn my hand when I pray for my family. And I still remember thinking that my skin was all that I was worth.
And I still feel the ironwork of my bones grow stronger with every train of thought that passes by. And I still feel pride. And I still feel heritage. And I still feel Chinese. And I still feel Vietnamese. And I still feel American. And I still feel.
Got so quiet. That was so good. Let's give it up for our state champions. All right, and without further ado, you can all go home, go away. Just kidding, just kidding. I'm wittily kidding. Okay, all right. What'd you say? You want to repeat that? I'm wittily gittawing. I don't know what any of that means, and I don't want to. Okay. So, for competing in the varsity division and becoming a state champion in forensics, Emily Stubbings. She's really slow.
Thank you.
For competing in the varsity division during the 22-23 debate season, Kennedy Miller. Ignore that last part. This person's not here. For qualifying for the novice state championship in debate, Ian Morgado. It's a gold gavel. It's pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah. That's it. You widowy widowed. All right. For competing in the forensic state championship, Sydney Aiken. The one kid who figured out it's quicker to go this way. For competing at the forensic state championship division and double qualifying, Lex Matthews.
Take that L.
It's her boy. And last but most certainly not least, for qualifying for the state championship for forensics, Lexi Bendel. No, you have to come up. It's a whole thing. And now, without further ado, let's retire to the flex space for pizza and superlatives. Yes.